Well, hello, everybody. It's Dr. Hank, and welcome that you are watching this because you were sent an assessment, a $300 assessment, and it is in regards on how to connect for success and better understanding yourself as well as others. And you will see some things on here and know some things now that you never knew about people and especially about yourself. So we will together go through your assessment, but I wanted to give you today an overview of what the assessment is, and specifically see here that looking at our agenda, that we'll look at the 4 behavior styles of mankind. Hippocrates basically identified those 4 behavior styles in like 200 BC, and it's still true to this day. And when you understand these behavior styles, that will help you to raise the curtain of communication that you have with other people. And one watch out is, if you've had other assessment and other behavior styles, that this has something new. And in it, you will actually see in your assessment specifically what's causing you stress, and also specifically how to connect the 6 steps to connect effectively with others based on your assessment. We'll also look at something that I'm sure you have not seen before, and that is there are 6 motivations of mankind. And when we understand what these 6 motivations are, we'll be able to speak with anybody, and through asking questions, we'll be able to understand where they're coming from. The top 2 motivators that a person has is the language they use and how they make decisions. So when you understand how they make decisions, you start talking their language and can help them understand what you're offering, what you're helping them with, so that you can really connect in a meaningful way. So I thought it would be helpful first to understand who I am. And they call me the Dr. Hank, because I'm a mental scientist, which means that I've studied for over 30 years the science, in fact, called Science of Mind is one of the 4-year program that I took in understanding how thoughts become things. And I've written 21 books on it. Excuse me, some books, Easy Money, Easy Life, Your Royal Path to Riches, and all kinds of good things on the teaching that I have that helps people's dreams come true. I'm also a success and happiness coach, and I help people become their greatest possibility. The author of 21 good news books, and I've helped thousands of people, hundreds of organizations, to include Fortune 100 companies around the world. And now I mainly focus here, just at home, if you will, in the United States, helping people become their greatest possibility. So let's get into this, that we're going to look at the different behavior style, how to identify that behavior style, and then what that expertise is in each behavior style. In other words, what are people good at having a particular behavior style, and then what percent of the population is in each behavior style. And then importantly, how to modify your behavior style so you can more effectively communicate with other people. So we're going to start with the D. And so this is DISC. Some of you have probably heard about this. Again, it'll be a way for you to easily use this to more effectively connect with people, understand yourself and others. The D is driver/dominant. And what I would recommend is you actually write this down and get out a piece of paper and put a D at the top of the page, an I on the right-hand side, an S on the lower left, and then a C on the left side. And because you'll review this, and when we get to the 6 motivators, it'll be helpful for you to understand that as well. And so again, the D is the driver dominant. Typically what they like to do is they like to control, and they like to do a lot of telling and kind of let's get right to it. Okay. And they're kind of pushy, if you will. And so you'll be able to, within 30 seconds, you'll be able to identify the person's behavior style based on what I'm sharing with you, and then how to effectively modify that. What are they good at? They're really good at decision making. So the good news is, if it's a patient of yours, if it's a prospect of yours, if it's a family member of yours, doesn't matter, that a D is going to make a quick decision. So you need to be precise, get the information to them, because they're going to either say yes or no, depending on how you can align with who they are. And you'll find about 18% are a strong D. So most of us are real high one behavior style, pretty high another, and then 2 behavior styles that we're not high at all. And then finally, how should I be with a D? And I want to be efficient. And again, these are terms and an understanding you haven't heard before. And so you want to think about getting to the point, be very efficient with them. So that's the D. Now we go to the I, and the I is for influencer. And these people, you know about them because they're very outgoing, and they're telling, but they're telling in a way, instead of telling you what to do, they're telling a story. So these are people, and think to yourself, even let's go back to the D, think about, hey, who do I know that's been a driver, and who do I know right now? And who are you living with, working with, whatever, who have you experienced with? Because it'll help really cement this in, so you can be thinking within 30 seconds of meeting anybody on the phone, Zoom, in person, and within 30 seconds, you're going to be able to identify and then modify your behavior style so you can open up that curtain of communication. So outgoing telling, and what are they good at? The D's, remember, are good at decision making. They're going to make a decision, right or wrong, whatever, yes, no, pretty quickly. With the I, what they're good is they're good at influencing people. And so they're just naturally gifted in influencing people. And about 28% of the population are this way. And how do you want to be with them? You want to be stimulating. So not that you want to be like, if they go, you recognize they're an I because you see within 30 seconds, well, they're talking a lot, they're using their hands a lot, whatever, which means I'm an I, right? Yeah. And so I'm actually an ID. And so on that I, that you, if they say, hey, yeah, everything's going great, man, just love you and what you're doing, whatever, that you want to kick it up a little. Now, you don't want to fake it and say, hey, how's everything going? But you want to kick it up, and because they like outgoing, they're very outgoing and very extroverted people. The next one is the S, and the S is for steady. And these people they have a very even pace, okay? And they're a team player. And so if you want a good team player to recruit or hire a good team player, have them on your team, whatever, and S's are great. And you'll want to get along with S's because about 40% of the population are S's. And then importantly, how do I be with an S? And I want to be agreeable. And that means I don't want to say no to them because that'll shut their curtain down. Subconsciously, they won't even be aware of it. They're not going to be doing business with you, or they're not going to listen to you if they're a patient or whatever. And so I'm heavily involved in 2 niches, really, real estate and healthcare. And so, but this applies to literally anybody, and you can use this with in fact, once you get your assessment, you'll want to share this with your loved ones, and how to communicate, how not to communicate with you, where you get, when you get stressed, what kind of behavior you have, So it'll be a really good way for you to have more deeper, more loving relationships as well with other people. So again, it's being agreeable. Don't say no, don't say but, because that means, oh, good idea, but erases the good idea, because then you're going to tell them how they should think or behave or whatever. And so instead, use the word and. And so, wow, that's a great idea. And why do you ask? So D-I-S, and then we have the C. And the C is for conscientious, compliant. They like facts and data. They're going to, in the medical industry, they're going to want to know on just exactly what product technology and what it's rated, and they don't want to know it's around 90%. They want to know it's 93.3%, whatever. And so they love facts and data. They typically are very high on rules and regulations. They say high C says rules and regulations are made to be followed. And a medium C says rules and regulations are nice guidelines. And a low C says rules and regulations are made to be broken. And I actually helped an executive, and again, this has helped so many people that I have IBM executives and sales teams across the world that actually use this, and that they'll pull out when they meet when they're meeting with one of their team players or one of their clients. If they assess them, they pull this out and they look at that assessment because it shows how to manage them, how to motivate them. Just some really amazing stuff. But I had a guy, an executive out in Atlanta, and he said, oh, this guy's going to be great, and I would be the sales leader or executive of the company. And I said, I don't think so, because he's a low C and he's going to not follow the rules, and you might find yourself in trouble. And this guy called me 6 weeks later and said, man, this is the best guy. You were finally wrong. And, your suggestion of hire or no hire. Well, 3 months later, he called me and he said, hey, our company's in major trouble, legal problems. This guy has been lying to people and just getting the sales. So yeah, I broke every sales record and everything, but he also broke every rule in order to get there. And so rules and regulations, only 14% are high C, where it's dominant C. And how do you want to be with C's? You want to be accurate. And so you want to be precise. So I purposely put this in this order because the D and the S typically don't get along very well. The D is saying, hey, let's get it going. And the S is saying, hey, no need to get anything going. So like if they're a buyer, if you will, under an S, or if you're trying to put them under a different diagnosis or medication or whatever, that they're going to be very slow typically in making decisions. So you need to kind of hit them up often and give them suggestions and help them along the way. Whereas the D, it's going to tell you yes or no pretty much almost instantly. The I and the C are at opposites, because the I is saying, hey, everything get done better than ever. And the C is saying, quit all the bullshit, just give me the facts. And so a couple other things about them, that the D and the I are typically extroverted. So how can you identify which ones they are within 30 seconds? They're extroverted. The I and the S are more concerned with relationships, whereas the C and the S are more introverted, and the C and the D are more concerned with the tasks at hand. And so I had an IBM executive get into tears at the point of this presentation and said, oh my God, this is just, I can't believe it. I said, what's wrong? This is good information, but not accurate. She goes, well, I just realized that what's been going on with my husband and I, that she was an IS and concerned with relationships. He was a DC, complete opposite, concerned with tasks. And I said, give me an example of that. She said, well, like when we go on a trip, I'm thinking about, what people are we going to invite, the in-laws, are we going to invite the kids' friends, whatever. And like my husband, he's just like, when do we go? How are we getting there? And when do we get home? And all about the task. And so here she has been trying to change him for 13 years, trying to change a guy. And that the fact is, he wasn't trying to be Mr. Macho or whatever. He was a DC, and that's it. And so a DC versus an IS, you can see the differences there, and how they all interrelate. And we need to have these differences. It provides a contrast in our lives to help us birth a brighter future. Okay, so that's the DISC. And so that is how to kind of see the outside of the person, how to relate to them, how to modify your behavior to more effectively communicate with them. Well, we're going to go through now very briefly. You'll get a whole assessment with like a 50-page report here, and it'll break down every one of these motivators, but I wanted to give you a flavor for these motivators. And basically, it's this, that these are the people that make decisions in the language, how people make decisions and the language they speak. And so the first one is utilitarian. And so again, there's 6 of these motivators, and these motivators determine how I make a decision. And so one of the top ones is utilitarian, which means wanting an ROI, a return on investment. The next one is theoretical. And these people like more knowledge. Okay, and they want more knowledge. And again, I would suggest that you write this down on some piece of paper at the bottom of the current paper that you use for the DISC behaviors, the DISC behaviors, and to look at this because you've never seen it before. Most people need at least 6 times to be exposed to ideas before they accept them. And these are the world's most statistically accurate and valid diagnostic tools. So they are real, they work amazingly well. And when you have this knowledge and incorporate this knowledge, it's really a way to connect with your prospects, your patients, your people. And so the PPP, if you will, prospects, patients, people, that it will help you to gain a better connection with them that will help you to your dreams and desires. So you have utilitarian, theoretical. The third one is social. And they want to help others. And so people that are real high social, they typically get burnt out because they're always trying to give, and help other people. And they're not getting the same exchange of energy back, and they're burning out. And so in this, I'll be able to help you. You'll be able to, with the behaviors profile, you'll actually see where you're creating stress and why you're creating stress and how to reduce that stress. Here, you're going to understand, like, for example, on social, if you're high social, where stress is coming from. But better yet, is you're going to understand where people are coming from. And the way you understand where people are coming from is we're peeling back the onion. So it's not their behavior, but it's you asking questions. And the best question you can ask after you share a little of the information that you have on whatever your diagnosis is and recommendations or your sales presentation, doesn't matter, whatever it is, patients, people, prospects, that whatever that is, that for you to know that they are all looking at by asking questions, you peel back that onion and understand on how they actually make decisions. Because when you ask them, and the best question asked is, what did you like best about what I shared with you? What did you like best? And I would write that down. What did you like best about this? And what it does, it's a question, so they think they're in control, but it also helps you to direct what they're in control of replying to you. And it's liking best, what they like best. And they'll then, you'll be able to really connect with them. And so if they say, hey, I really like that, I'm going to get a high return on investment, right away, you should be speaking to utilitarian. If they're saying, wow, that really helps me and can help others and whatever, that, they're high social. So you want to talk more about how your product and your diagnosis or whatever, on how what you're offering, that on how it helps them in the area that they value. The fourth value, individualistic. These people want to be the best, want to be number one. And so you want to, if you say, what did you like best about them? They say, man, I like that. I can become a millionaire, with this. And so I have different opportunities for you, and you can ask me about them in order to become a millionaire with different programs and companies and offerings that we have. And then there's traditional, and traditional is an order to life. What is the order that is everything that they like doing it? Like for example, if you're high, good and traditional, in order to life that I wake up at this time, I go to work, I get back. That there's just order in their life, in the way their closet is or whatever. And then the last one is aesthetic. And aesthetic means form and harmony. And this is where people I want to make sure, like if they're doing a website, that, this tab leads to this tab, that there's a lot of good form and harmony. And again, you'll be able to understand this more as you look at your assessment, but for you to be briefed on this, so that, wow, what you're looking at with your assessment, and when we go over it, that it's really important to help you in order to have the things that you want. So what we're going to do is just a quick little exercise, and then that'll be it. And basically, we're looking at a picture, and imagine that there's a bus driving by, and there's 6 windows to this bus. And so you want to ask yourself, if I'm looking out this window, what do I see? Well, with the utilitarian, what are they going to see? Looking for an ROI. They may say, what a waste having those flowers there. We could build another big duplex like that's behind there, another big condo complex there. And what a waste. And they may say, utilitarian may think, this is terrible. They're wasting all that land. Theoretical, the knowledge, they may say, hey, how are those flowers pink? And some, light pink. And aesthetic, I said, oh, I love the form and harmony. And they have this little garden here with the flowers, and they got the palm trees. And then it's such a beautiful, I just love how that looks. Individualistic, they look out that bus window and they say, if I live there, I'm going to be on the top floor with the big porch, with the best view of all these flowers and palm trees, because I'm the best. Okay, and social may say, oh my gosh, we could pick those flowers and take them to the hospital and share them with the sick people, or something like that, okay? And the traditional is, oh, I like that, there's a nice garden there. There should always be gardens, like a park by us. That's very nice. And I like living there because it has, I see the buildings, they're all the same like that. And they're very traditionalist. They like just on how things should be according to them. And so that gives you an overview. So can you imagine talking to a person, and if you're high utilitarian return on investment, and you're talking from your language. So your language is saying, oh, look at the return on investment on your better health or your better income or whatever it may be. Okay. And if that's not on their radar, if that's not what's motivating them, then, oh, we better find out what does motivate them. And through questions like, wow, what did you like best about what I shared with you so far? And that they say, well, wow, I just love the way that those flowers help those. In other words, this is your presentation, okay? I love on how those flowers can help the people in the hospital. Well, you didn't even bring up the flowers at the hospital because you were utilitarian. And so when you really understand this and internalize this information, it works like magic to make these meaningful connections with other people. So your next step, set up an appointment with me. And you can text me, you can email me. I probably left you a link on Calendly you can do. There's my contact information. And then you'll be sent your assessment right before our meeting together, and then we'll be able to review your great results and help you to be able to really connect with others and see it's with others that all of us are successful. I've been blessed. I'm successful, independently wealth, and all these wonderful things, and I'm blessed with that, and I'm that way because of other people. And because I was able to meaningfully connect with other people, understand their language, understand where they're coming from, and modify my behavior so I can open up that shade of communication. So, with that, this is Dr. Hank. I appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to talk to you and discuss all of this good news that is here for you now on how to build relationships, build your life, build your business, that all easily and quickly. And so until we talk next, all the best. Bye bye.